Hello, thank you for tuning in. You're listening to another episode of A Band of Gamers podcast. This is episode 192. It's your usual three geeks back at you, gaming and music fans here. And we'll cover both of our hobbies in two separate segments, Side A, video games, and Side B, music. First off, you've got me, your MC, one of your three co-hosts. My name's Joel. I'm recording in Brookfield, Wisconsin, not too far out of Milwaukee. And joining me on this podcast journey from across the globe, from the village of Vancouver, Canada, it's Shane. Hey, Shane.
Hey, Joel. Man, it's been a couple weeks here, but we're back. I got a bit of some Whitecaps fever. There's a lot of people, not going to get into it, but there's a lot of people that are disliking the organization as of late, which only makes me like things even more. So yeah, I got a bit of Whitecaps fever here in the village of Vancouver.
I love it, man. In Birmingham, England, he is Premier League. It's Carl.
Oh, yeah. Talk about football fever. I am all over it. It's been a glorious week. And my Aston Villa, my beloved Villa, are back in the big time in the Premier League.
That was a good game, man. Yeah, a little tense there at the end.
Yeah, just a bit too tense. I had the boys round, windows open, lots of shouting, swearing and screaming. And very tense towards the end. But we did it, man. We did it.
The window's open. Don't like it getting all musky and whatnot. No, you got the.
You got to have a bit of the funk going on, but it was warm. You needed the airflow. It was quite the event.
Beautiful. So, Joel, why don't you tell them what we're doing here today?
I'd love to, Shane. Thank you very much. Show notes, links, and conversation over at abandongamers.com/192. Inside A Video Games, news, conversation. Sony and Microsoft are working together. What? We'll talk about that. Sony's Days of Play sale. Game Pass coming to PC. We've got some games we're playing, including What Remains of Edith Finch, Rage 2, and some PS3.
Oh.
Man, we're going back a couple years. The glory days of the old days of ABOG. Now's the glory days. We've got your e-penis segment. That's easy PlayStation Platinum trophies to grow that number. In between sides, we'll share what's in our pint glasses. Probably pour a beer there. And then Side B music. Got recommended records, two of them. For fans, the first one, for fans of, let's say, wearing a docking t-shirt to the beach. Some old school, like 90s style, like glam rock, Aerosmith, Guns N' Roses.
Yeah. Blues rock, you can chuck that in there.
Van Halen, maybe?
Ooh, Van Halen, yeah, definitely. And then the other record, the second record this episode, for fans of Arctic Monkeys and
Definitely.
90s rock. We'll share what we're listening to besides those two records. Well, let's get right into it. Sony and Microsoft are teaming up, and at least that's the slant a lot of the games media is talking this up. And basically what this is here is, they got some quotes. PlayStation itself came about through the integration of creativity and technology, says Sony's president, Kenichiro Yoshida. Our mission is to seamlessly evolve this platform as one that continues to deliver the best and most immersive entertainment experiences, together with a cloud environment that ensures the best possible experience anytime, anywhere. For many years, Microsoft has been a key business partner for us, though, of course, the two companies have also been competing in some areas. I believe that our joint development of future cloud solutions will contribute greatly to the advancement of interactive content. So they're going to be using Microsoft's Azure cloud solution. Not sure for what. Don't know if they're going to be doing some game streaming similar to like Xbox and Google Stadia, or if they're going to do something different with PlayStation Now. No clue. They're going to be paying Microsoft some money. And a little bit of a handshake there to use their technology. And there's some more conversation about the two perhaps working together in other areas. This is not a surprise to me. Well, first of all, I think Microsoft had a Blu-ray player in the Xbox. Sony owned a portion of that. So working together has been going back many, many years. This is probably kind of more of the same in that regard. But I do think with Google Stadia on the horizon, and if that thing does what they say that it's going to be able to do, they better team up because they're all in trouble.
Most definitely. I mean, it came as a bit of a surprise, I guess. I mean, there's been dare I say, some unfinished business with Microsoft and Sony. They've been battling it out for what feels like forever in the, as soon as they the PlayStation 2, the original Xbox, and nice to see them kind of getting together and supplying a service and joining 2019, 2020 and here on forward, because it seems like that's going to be the norm. I think a lot of companies would be teaming up, and we've already seen it with Nintendo and Microsoft. So is the next step kind of bound to happen? I think we talked about this maybe 6 or 8 months ago. I think may have even predicted something like this. I know we definitely mentioned that you'd be seeing some more cross-platform play, definitely, and I think that was the first step. And good on Sony in a way for kind of taking their time with this, and hopefully sounds like it's going to be done right and done well, and something I think we can all count on.
Yeah, not a huge surprise. I think given how good the streaming option looks from Google, we still know very little about it, but it makes sense for Sony and Microsoft to kind of come together and say, look, we've got to protect our share here and share that technology, work together. I think it only bodes well, really. If streaming does become the thing that everyone wants to do, then it makes sense that they want to be prepared. And yeah, it's good news all around.
Yeah, reading between the lines here too, Azure and then Microsoft's cloud streaming capabilities. I bet you that's some pretty good technology for Sony to come knocking and say, hey, can we use that in our system? Plus, Sony may have had to start from, I don't know what they're going to be doing here. Like I said, if it's going to be just PlayStation Now improvements, enhancements, something different. But if they go like straight cloud-based gaming like the other two, Google and Microsoft, why start from scratch? Why not use like soon-to-be proven technology?
Totally. Makes absolute sense.
Sony, more news from Sony. They've got their annual Days of Play event sale is back. Starts June 7th, lasts through the 17th. Go through the list here of some of the sales. There's a Jet Black PS4 Pro, $50 off. So $349 in the US, $449 up in Canada. PlayStation VR bundles starting at $249 in the US, $329 in Canada, which I think they've done that price before with VR bundles.
Yeah.
DualShock 4s, all colors, starting at $39.99 US, $49.99 Canada. That's where controllers should be, man. I'm so sick of paying $60 for controllers.
Here.
Days Gone, God of War, Spider-Man, and MLB The Show, all starting at $19.99 US, $29.99 Canada. Man, that's a hell of a sale right there.
That's some solid deals. Interesting that they always like to put in starting at. And everybody's freaking, oh, Days Gone's going to be $20. That's unbelievable. I'm sure it'll be a little bit more, but nice to see that on a bit of a discount, all things considered. So, yeah, solid deals.
God of War.
We get the show.
Go ahead, Carl.
Just because hopefully we get the show discount over here. I'm sure we won't, but it'd be nice if some of that filtered down.
Yeah, $20 off the show, I think, right? That's what they're doing. And God of War and Marvel Spider-Man are both $19.99. Those are steals. Then you've got your PlayStation Hits games, which are usually $19.99 down to $9.99 during the sale. I looked this up. I couldn't really find information anywhere. I don't know if you two guys know. Obviously, this sale will be on the digital side. It'll be in their storefront, right? The online store. Will this also be in retail, these prices? The games prices?
If I remember correctly, I think last year when they did this, it also filtered over to like Amazon as well. I think this is also a retail thing. I wouldn't expect it to be just digital. I think it does bleed over.
I like that. I want my discs.
Oh, and there's also a Days of Play edition PS3 Slim that's in kind of like a gunmetal kind of titanium gray that they're doing as well. I know it's going to be $379 up here, which is like the standard. It's not really a deal, but it's a limited edition looking PS4, which looks really cool. I remember, I think it was last year or the year before, they had that blue one with the really nice kind of gold kind of, with the logo and whatnot on there. It was fantastic. But yeah, looks pretty cool. Nice little addition for the slim SKUs.
Kind of wish that would have been a PS4 Pro though.
Yeah, just a little bit yeah.
And last bit of news, Xbox Game Pass coming to PC. So Microsoft announced this before E3, probably go into a lot more details during E3. But Game Pass is coming to the PC. It's going to be a separate cost. You'll have your first-party Xbox games in there. I know they're working with quite a few of the big devs. They're saying there'll be 100 games available. Game Pass on the Xbox, they said 100 initially. It's up over 200 now. But pretty nice. If you're a PC gamer, and I don't know what PC gamers think about Microsoft these days. Carl, what do you represent?
I'm hoping that it's put in the right way. Like it's exciting for me. I do pay for Game Pass on the Xbox, so I do also have a PC. And some of the games that I do have, I like to play on both. A bit of Gears, I'll play that across both platforms. Forza, but it'd be ace if they can integrate this into the different storefronts. I don't think they will be able to, but it'd be cool if they did. I mean, PC gaming's a bit of a minefield. You've obviously got Steam, which is the one everyone talks about. You've got Good Old Games. You've got the Epic Store. And then you've got people with their individual launchers. For EA and Ubisoft and all those. So I'm hoping that if they can filter this across, and even if they can get a couple of them in Steam, if they can, it'd be great if you could go into your Steam library and go, oh, that I can play that now. It's included in my Game Pass. It'd be brilliant if they can adopt that across the board. It'd be super difficult to do, but if they did it could work really, really well. But I just want to get away from the Microsoft store, the Windows store, because it is pretty annoying at the best of times. But yeah, I'm super interested in this. I don't know whether it's going to be the same subscription or a separate PC only one, or whether it's one fee, and you get it on the Xbox One and the PC. But I'm looking forward to that press conference on June the 9th and see what they say.
Well, why don't we get over to what we've been playing? Carl, you want to start us off with Rage 2, and then Shane can talk about his PS3?
Yeah, Rage. So I've been looking for a shooter to play. You all know that I love Borderlands, and it's no secret, obviously, that I've rebought that and replayed that, and Borderlands 3 is coming. And I've been looking for something to kind of fill the gap a little bit, something fun, something quirky. And there's a few games that have come out, nothing's really jumped on me, but Rage 2, when it was announced, I thought, I did enjoy the first Rage game. I didn't play a ton of it, but what I played, I quite enjoyed. And this had a very much a Borderlands meets Mad Max feel to it. And I thought, I can see me playing that. And I waited. The reviews for the game weren't brilliant. It seemed to be getting like 6s and 7s, and it was one of those for Bethesda. They needed this to land. They've had a couple of disappointments with the big franchises that they've had with Fallout and with Mass Effect and stuff. So it's very much one of those, things that they needed something from it. And looking for a bit of fun, I thought, you know what? Yeah, I'll rent it. I'll have a little play. And I've had a lot of fun with this game so far. I'm still, jonesing to get back to it and play more. It's actually quite polished, not graphically brilliant, but it's not bad either. The lighting's super good, and you kind of, when you come out of a city and go into the open expanse, the wastelands, it's actually pretty nice. And what you want out of a shooter is you want the shooting to be good, and the shooting is excellent in this game. You start off with a pistol, and then you got a bit of a rifle, and you go through, and you pick up other weapons as you play, but at the core of it, the actual shooting, especially with the rifle and the shotgun, is superb. It really does feel meaty. It feels like an established franchise, like a Halo or a Call of Duty. I'm very much loving that. The story is kind of, it is what it is. It does carry on from the Rage storyline, the first game, but I never really finished that. I didn't pay too much attention. But it's basically that you've got these dudes called the Authority, and everyone thought they were gone, and they kind of come back, and kill everybody and kill all the rangers, who are these like super soldiers in the police, and you end up being the last ranger, called Walker, Texas Ranger, and you kind of put on this little suit, and you've got a few abilities and powers that you can unlock as you play through. And there's these little nanobots which kind of are injected into you and give you the ability to like jump higher, like do a force push kind of thing. And the abilities are fun and help break it up a little bit, but you don't really want to use them too much because the shooting's so good. And I must admit, I was surprised. I really was surprised. It's not a huge game, and I think that's one of the things that people have poked a couple of holes in. The actual campaign's quite straightforward. These guys, the Authority, come back, and obviously everyone's dead, and the whole game, the whole story in the game is basically you have to go out into the wasteland. And there's 3 people that you have to find, and each one of these NPCs has got a portion of this kind of ultimate weapon, Project Dagger, which you need to enact to take down the Authority. So it's kind of got a bit of an RPG feel to it. You have to go and find them and do a couple of quests and, build up reputation. But the interesting thing with this is that you build that reputation up before you've even met them. So when you start doing things in their zone, in their area of the map, you kind of build reputation as you go along already. So I've done about, I think probably 5, maybe 5.5 hours so far. And I've only actually met one of these people. The rest I'm just going around and doing missions and cleaning up like bandit camps and stuff. And I'm already like sort of level 2, level 3 with these guys, and you get them to level 5, and then you can actually do their get to the last mission, if you like, and do what you want to do. So I think 7 to 9 hours probably for the campaign if you just wanted to go through, find these dudes and get through it. But again, that's probably not a bad thing in some cases. Dotted around the wasteland are these things called arcs, and they have weapon upgrades, special weapons, abilities that you can unlock as well. So sometimes you get like a load of bandits will be around them, and they use them for resource and stuff, and you have to go in, defeat everybody, and then unlock them. But I've had a lot of fun with it. I really have. It's bright and colourful and fun, and it does feel like a cross between that Mad Max game. But I think, I'm not sure if that was a Rocksteady game or something, but it feels like it's got that bit of that Borderlands feel to it in terms of, you can hear almost like the psychos talking off screen, and like you can hear them talking to each other and yapping away, but it hasn't got the humour. So it does feel a little bit flat in terms of the script and stuff. It tries to be a little bit like Borderlands, but it isn't as funny. But yeah, I think if you're looking for a shooter and you want a bit of fun, I'd recommend it. I think it's more of a rental than maybe buying it, but so far I'm really digging it.
I'm looking for a new shooter, man. I've got the itch right now, and maybe I'll check this out. I also like a 10-hour campaign in a shooter. That sounds about right? Like Wolfenstein and right? I don't need 25 hours in a shooter.
Yep, 100% agree with you there. No need for those, man. Wrapping up 10, 12 hours. I'm good to go, man. Enjoy it.
Yeah, maybe if you want to boost the time after that, a good online mode. Like Killzone 3 back in the day for all of us. Played the heck out of that for hours and hours and hours. But the campaign, a short little experience.
And it's the world isn't dotted with things to do, but because the shooting feels that good, and it's the same, if I play like a bit of Gears or Halo or whatever, I don't really care about stories so much. I just like shooting stuff in those games. It feels good, and that's what is kind of nice about Rage. There isn't a lot. You can literally go off and just drive around. You might not see a lot, but if you just want to kill a few bandits in the camps and stuff, you can totally do it. And sometimes you just want to do it. You just want to kill a few of the guys and use a couple of your abilities. There's like a berserk mode you can use as well, where you kind of press L and R1 together, and after you've got a few kill streaks together and stuff, and then the screen goes a bit blurry and you do more damage. You can melee kills kind of destroy people in one hit, and you can chain those attacks together, which makes it even more fun. If you're just going in straight into a loaded enemy place, then you can have a lot of fun with that. But I think if you're looking for that kind of game, I would definitely recommend it. I think it's a lot of fun. I think if you'd have paid full whack for it the day it come out, you might be done with it in a weekend. Then you might be a bit annoyed. But certainly, I think if you're picking this up for around the $25, $30 mark, I don't think it's a bad game at all.
Probably going to be a while before it's that price.
Well, or rent it.
Okay, hold on. I wanted to ask about this. We don't have Blockbuster in the U.S. anymore, dude. There's no place to rent, and I do not have a GameFly account. You guys still got places to rent over there in Europe?
No, they're not physical, but I use a company called Boomerang, who are pretty good. And you just pay, it's tiered, but you can pay them like £11 a month, and then you can have one game at a time, as many games in a month as you want. So I'm trying not to buy games and leave them on the shelf wrapped in cellophane, which is, I'm a bugger for doing it. So, and you know me, I buy RPGs. So I'm like, oh, there's an ATO game over there. And I haven't started it. And I'll buy another one on Steam because it's on offer. And then not play that one. So I'm trying, like with games like Raid or Mortal Kombat, and these games that come out, I just want to play for a bit. It's the perfect opportunity. But it's all done through the post. Like they send you it, you send it back in the post, job done. And if a game isn't sent out to you, you kind of accumulate points. They sort of say, right, we know we haven't sent the game that's on your list yet. So here's you accumulate these points, and then you can buy a game off them or rent a game off them or whatever for much cheaper. So it does work.
Doesn't sound too shabby. Kind of sounds like GameFly in the States. Mm-hmm. We do got Redbox. We got those little, like in grocery stores and stuff, little machine. Put your check card in. You can take a game out of there, return it.
Oh, yeah.
Might be a good weekend game, like you said, in a Redbox or something.
I thought there was still a Blockbuster way up north in Alaska. I think there's like some small remote community that doesn't have internet. So there's like the Blockbuster is also like, it's also like the Co-op and, an oil and lube joint all in the same. Yeah.
You guys in your oil and lube places.
Mr. Lube.
Mr. Okay. Lube. That's the one.
We take care of our automobiles. You got in those Canadian winters. Got to keep everything nice and lubed.
We drove by one of those when we were all together, and Carl just died laughing for 5 minutes. Like, Mr. Lube. Yeah. Like, is that Mr. really Lube. A thing?
And I took photos of it and sent it to my friends on WhatsApp. I was like, boom, boom. They'll get this when they wake up in the morning. Oh, it's brilliant.
Definitely one of the memorable moment. Definitely never forget that. We were in stitches, as some people would say. Definitely had us in stitches. So
that's awesome. Yeah, man. But yeah, Rage 2, definitely worth your time. I shall play through it and finish it because it's just super easy to play, and it's a bit of an enjoyable pick it up, put it down, half an hour here and there. Good fun.
I'm liking the sound of it. Shane,
PlayStation 3's been worth my time.
Man, you're so good. I was going to give you a segue, and you got one already ready. You're loaded, locked and loaded.
Right? That's kind of what I do. Sweep. Yeah, I've been fancying playing some racing games, and I decided, the PS3 had some great ones on there. So I dug out the old PS3, heard it up. I had that Super Slim. I don't know if you guys remember that. It was the one after the Slim, which they called the Super Slim.
Is that the one with the sliding tray on the top?
Yeah, the top loader.
The real cheap one that they
prone
did
to break
right near the end of the life cycle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, mine had been making quite a bit of noise, and not just like, oh, the fan's really loud noise. No, this is like a real loud kind of growling, grinding sound, and it's like it would go on for probably about the first 15, 20 minutes that you'd start up. It was pretty brutal. And I had a Slim prior to that, and I think those are just a deadly built console. They work great. They don't overheat. They're quiet. Solid's got that nice disk drive in it.
Yeah, I agree.
Just great piece of hardware. So I've been scanning the scene in the city tonight for a Slim PS3, and I found one kind of on the cheap and cheap. You can find them on Craigslist. They're probably about 50, 60, maybe $80 for like a really clean one. So went and grabbed one of those, and then, of course, I get a new console. I got to change the hard drive out. So luckily, I got a stack of, serial ATA hard drives for PS3 and PS4s just stacked up, waiting for home.
Why am I not surprised?
Right? That's what I do, man. I love doing it. Actually, good friend of the show, Mark One Racer, actually wanted me to upgrade his hard drive in his PS3, slim, same kind of one. And it brings over. It's like, yeah, we'll watch some boxing. It'd be great. Yeah, I had a few beers and whatnot. I was like, oh yeah, by the way, let's do that. And I'm 3 seats to the wind. It's great, man. He's like, you sure you can do this? It's like, yeah, I've done this 1,000 times. And getting all the dust bunnies out of it, just cleaning up. And he's sitting there and he's just like paranoid, like, you're going to drop this console. You're drinking way too much. And
as you're looking in the fridge for the screwdriver.
Exactly. I love doing that stuff. I love switching hard drives out. I just getting hands on and doing that stuff. It's a hobby, I'd almost say, for me. I just really enjoy it. So did the PS3's got that data transfer thing where if you plug an Ethernet cable into like your current PS3 and then plug it into the new one, and it swiftly transfers all the data on there. I use the term swiftly loosely because it's not very swift. It took about 20 hours to do.
Oof. Wow.
200 gigs. So yeah, it was a long day. But once it was all said and done, going back to what I'm talking about, is I finally got to play some racing games. So Motorstorm, Pacific Rift, one of my favorites on there. So good. Along with Apocalypse, which was a big part of ABOG community nights back in the day. It was like every Thursday, we were playing racing games, switching between that, some Need for Speed, Most Wanted. Just some great times and a great time in ABOG history of building the community and whatnot, and so good. So many fond memories of playing some Motorstorm.
Yeah, Pacific Rift is like the apex of Motorstorm games, and that's the best one. And that soundtrack, man, that soundtrack is ridiculously good.
Oh, ain't it fantastic, man? Just brought it all back. As soon as you pop it in, the tunes start going, and you get the monster trucks and the dune buggies and whatnot. So good.
Yeah, but they don't make. I was playing this too. They don't make soundtracks like that on video games anymore. Nothing comes even close to that quality of music in there. I mean, it's Clutch, Queens of the Stone Age, man. Some great songs. Death from Above, 1979, and go on and on.
And they all kind of really, kept with, a certain genre. Maybe there's like one or two tunes that were just, maybe a little bit more dancey and whatnot to change up the pace a little bit. Whereas games now, I mean, you don't have that type of quality of bands and artists on there. And they're just kind of like generic. Like something area. Okay, well, this is a little bit of the rock tune. This one's a little bit more, classic rock. This one's a bit more dancey. This one, and they just don't really. I don't know. But it was just such a treat to throw that in and play a bunch.
Awesome, man.
Yeah, I need to get back into the PS3. I've got a massive backlog on there, and there's some easy plats on there as well. There's some quite a few floating around. Which I need to go back and look at. Shane, were you using the PS3 DualShock, or did you give the PS4 on a bash on that?
I actually was using the PS3 one at first, and then I got the PS3. I moved it into my bedroom. There's a nice TV in there and whatnot. And then just for kind of shits and giggles, I'd be like, let's plug the PS4, the DualShock 4 in there, and see what happens. And it was working as long as it's wired, though. It does not work wirelessly. So as long as you got it wired in there, it works. A little bit of an asterisk in there, which I'll explain in a minute. But I didn't realize, or I'd forgotten, what a jump the DualShock 4 is over the DualShock 3. It is incredible. Like, I've just got a new appreciation for the DualShock 4 now. It's so tight. It's precise. The sticks are excellent. The toggle, everything about it is just fantastic. Now, going back to the little asterisks, I've noticed the home button doesn't work in order to back out a game or anything. It just kind of loses its purpose on using the DualShock 4 on the PS3. So I've had to keep a DualShock 3 plugged in. So when I want to back out to a game, I'll just grab that and hold onto the home button, boom, boom, back at the XMB and onto the next game. But just a couple, just little things like that, but still works. I'm still using it. I'm going to keep using the DualShock 4 on there. It's fantastic. So
you inspired me. I've hearing about Pacific Rift in our chat. I'm like, oh my God, I need to play that game like right now. So I ran up to GameStop, bought a PS3 used. Like I didn't have one laying around anymore. So it's $100, I think, $99, I think I paid. It took 3 attempts though to get a working PS3 out of GameStop.
what?
So I went there, I bought one. I'm like, they put it like in a box. You can't really see what's going on. The guy's like, you want to look at it? I'm like, damn right I do. Open that box up before I leave here. I want to look at it. Looked all right. I'm like, okay. Took it home. Didn't work. The video signal wouldn't come through. The controller wouldn't stay on. I don't know what the heck was up with it. So I went back. Okay, I need a new one. I went back same night. I was kind of irritated. I wanted to play Pacific Rift like now. Like I wasn't waiting. So I went back. All right, give me another one. At this point, it's becoming an inconvenience. It's not near my house. It's like a good half-hour drive.
Wow.
So they exchange, and then she's the gal behind the counter. I don't know what was going on with her computer, and she seemed to narrate the entire experience as if I cared. I don't. Just give me the new PS3. Oh, my computer's. I'm like, I don't care what's up with your computer and your software and all this. Just it was a hassle. So she does the whole transaction, struggling to make the transaction happen in her darn computer system. And then I'm like, okay, well, let me see that. Let me open the box. And she opened it up, and it's one of those super slims that you're talking about, Shane, where it had like the sliding tray on it. She opens the box. The tray is open. It's like already like it's open. So you know how much dust is probably getting in there. I'm like, well, that's not good. So she slides it closed, looks at me like, yeah, we'll just close this. You're fine. I'm like, hold on. And then I started looking at it further. The plastic on the sides of those super slims kind of like connect. They're like panels.
Yeah, it's kind of got like a little weird kind of snap in where it half slides and then it kind of locks in. I realized it because I was trying to get to the hard drive in mine, and I ended up breaking it because it's so kind of flimsy. I know what you mean.
Yeah, and so all three, the sides and the back of those panels were off, were broke. I just touched the console. It's like crumbled in my hands. Little panels fall off. I'm like, I look at her like, nah, I am not going home with this PS3 right here. This one may work, but I am no way am I paying $100 for this falling apart piece of plastic here. I'm not going to duct tape my PS3 to get it to work.
Yeah.
So then she finds another one in a box, also in bad shape. And then I recall as I was looking around the store a little bit, they had one in a case, like a glass case. And in the glass case, it looks like a pristine, slim PS3. I'm like, go get me that one. That one doesn't got crap all over it. It looks like it probably going to work. So I ended up getting that one. 160 gig though. It's kind of a small hard drive. So maybe I got to change that out. But Pacific Rift. First of all, my save file from the cloud was corrupted. I don't know what the hell that's all about. So I wasn't able to pull down my own save, but I had to just start over. Who cares? It's a fun game. Playing for the beginning.
Exactly. Yeah. It is so good. And kind of ironic because we were both kind of talking about it online in completely separate areas of the internet. I'm on Instagram posting that and hop in the Discord, and there's Joel talking Pacific Rift. Well, so cool, man. But yeah, I've been enjoying that. I'll hammer through a couple other titles here. Enjoying the F1 Championship Edition. I've been on a bit of an F1 kick lately. I've always kind of enjoyed, a few of the races throughout the year. Monaco, Singapore, always enjoyable. The Canadian Grand Prix is also, a favorite, being somewhat close to home. But yeah, just been getting into it, and so pop that in. Fantastic racing game. Seems a little bit dated now. It was an early PS3 game, but it's a fantastic F1 game. Grid, another great little racing game that came out, kind of early to mid PS3 life cycle. Midnight Club, Rockstar racing game, always good stuff. Too bad it was canceled. Sorry, but it is what it is. It's a fun game. I always enjoyed it. Test Drive Unlimited 2. The series, the original Test Drive Unlimited, that I firmly believe launched how we play racing games today, with games like Forza Horizon, The Crew, Need for Speed's even gone this way of, open world and bit of an RPG kick to it. But love my Test Drive Unlimited, and been playing through it. I didn't realize that I didn't really care for the second version of the game when it came out back on the PS3 and 360 and whatnot. But man, it's fun. I'm enjoying it so much more now. I guess because I don't care, and it's just fun. Was kind of yearning for some old school, kind of racing experience like Test Drive. I miss that game so much. So put it in. I've almost made it back to where you can unlock the Hawaiian Island where the first one takes place. So that is my goal, to get there and then to enjoy the Hawaiian Island. Jazz Cabbage, it should be a lot of fun. Some Wowie Maui would be good times. So yeah, Test Drive Unlimited 2, man, great game, man. It's too bad the servers are down. They had an online casino in that game. Did you guys know that, Joel and Carl? Did you know Test Drive Unlimited 2 had an online casino in the game?
Did not. I would take some Jazz Cabbage with me, though, if I did go to the online casino.
Full in, kind of like a PlayStation Home type thing. Your avatar, your dude, you can walk around, go up to slot machines, play some cards, do that, and you could win cars that they would have there, like kind of like in a real casino. You go to Vegas and you go, and then like in the center of the casino, there's like a new Plymouth SRT4. Here you go. This could be yours and whatnot. And it's just it's so cool. But apparently the servers just went down in like November of 2018. So missed out on one last hurrah of that. But still having fun with it. It's a great time. Fight Night Champion. I love my boxing. The greatest boxing game ever made, Fight Night Champion. Got into that. They got the bare knuckle mode in there. Oh, awesome, man.
Game's ace.
Carl brought back the Hitman. Had to take a couple guys down with some old-fashioned Mexican liver punches there, some good body shots. But yeah, that is solid. And why we don't have an updated Fight Night on this generation is beyond me. They hit it out of the park. The physics, the way everything worked in Fight Night Champion was just fantastic. Like I don't think there's a better, kind of combat game like that.
Yeah, the analog stick hooks and the way they use the two sticks to move the arms, I thought was pretty awesome, revolutionary. Bring that back.
Definitely a lot of fun. And then last but not least, one of my favorite downloadable titles, Pain, on the PS3. Oh, love that game. So much fun. Once again, another game where the servers are done, but I would grind for days trying to get trophies in that game, because the trophies were not easy. A lot of them were extremely difficult, and it would take me days, get home from work and just start playing. It's like, I can get this. And I finally would get it. And it was like so rewarding. Such a great game. If you haven't played Pain, you have a PS3. I don't even know if it's on the store anymore. It should be. It's very, very good. Or I think there's some physical copies out there. I think in Europe, I think they did one, or maybe Australia as well. But they're out there. They're not too expensive. But fantastic. One of my fondest gaming memories playing Pain early on in the PS3's life.
It's a lot of fun, that game. My dad has actually got that physically, and I borrowed it off him once. He was like, play this, I can't get into it. And it was meant to be like a relatively easy plat, someone had told me. And I went on there and I couldn't get a trophy. Like, I think I played it for about 5 hours and I didn't get anything to pop. And I was like, for God's sake. And it was, super, super quirky and super tough. So, yeah, I don't think the old man has played it much, to be fair.
It's so good though, so fun, so frustrating. Everything about it's just so cool. That its own type of humor in there. I think they later added David Hasselhoff as one of the characters you could use, and just silly fun. But one of the great early downloadable titles.
Yeah, for those that don't know, it's like Burnout, the old Burnout, like Crash Mode, only with a human body. Basically fling a body up into a bunch of stuff and cause as much damage as you can. That was a cool game.
Exactly like that. But then the trophies would be like, make sure you got to hold on to this. And then while this is flying through the air, make sure you hit something else. And then if you can do that, make sure you land in a urinal or something. It was half of them are borderline impossible. If anybody's gotten them all, I mean, hats off to you. But there's, good fun though.
So I finished Devil May Cry 5 Took me a while. Took me longer
Nice.
than I wanted.
Nice.
A little weird though, because when you put a game down for like a week and then pick it back up, and I did that several times during my playthrough of Devil May Cry 5, and the fact that you're playing as 3 different fighters with different fighting styles, it's like I had to relearn the game every time I picked it back up. Kind of frustrating. I wish I would have played it more tightly. The Bucks were on TV a lot, and I just couldn't stop watching the Bucks. I kept putting that game down. So I'd be honest, when I picked it back up again, I'm just like, I just want to beat this game and get on to something else. That's kind of how I felt about it. I hate when you feel that way, because I really like the game. But it just felt like an obligation. Until I started to get further into it. I'm like, oh yeah. The story just really kind of pulled me in at the end, which surprised me, because what a kind of a goofy story. But as it kept going, I wanted to see what happened next. And you got kind of attached to the 3 different characters. And good brawler. Highly recommend that game, Devil May Cry 5.
Need to get back into it, mate.
Played it on
I'm like you.
Played it on human, which is like easy. It was a little too easy at times.
Yeah.
I probably should have bumped up the difficulty. Maybe at some point I'll go back and play it again on the higher difficulty. It was a little easy. Kind of like cheating. You know, like you're beating everything without flinching.
Super easy. Yeah, I get it.
And then I played through, this was on PlayStation Plus last month. I think I don't think you can get it there on Plus anymore. So hopefully you grabbed it out there. It's also on Xbox Game Pass. Game's called What Remains of Edith Finch. It's developed by Giant Sparrow, who also brought us Unfinished Swan, and is published by Annapurna Interactives. Game's from, I think it's 2017, I believe it came out. But on Giant Sparrow's website, it says, this is a little description of their company. It also kind of fits the game really well. It's a Giant Sparrow is a small video game company focused on creating surreal experiences people have never had before. Our dream is to make the world a stranger and more interesting place. And that really sums up What Remains of Edith Finch. It's a tweaked experience. It won Best Game of 2017 by British Academy of Games. It won Best Narrative category at the 2018 Game Developer Choice Awards, or GDC. So by a panel of peers, picked at the Best Narrative, and also Best Narrative category at Games Awards 2017. It's a walking simulator, or at least that's what I was told, but not really. It's not much of a walking simulator. It has that style to it. It's all about the story. The storytelling is excellent. It's a page-turner story within a video game. You traverse your old home. You play a young girl who's going back to where she grew up and rediscovering stories of her siblings, her family, her relatives. Hard to say much more without spoiling the game, but you end up going through, there's a bunch of rooms as her family was dying, and her family, they said they had like a family curse. She lost a lot of her family, and a lot of their relatives died in very, very strange ways. And you've got to go back and learn how they died, essentially. And as you're doing that, you go into these different rooms through secret passages, and you'll take control of that family member for a short period of time and kind of see their story. It's tweaked.
Wow.
It's kind of tweaked.
Let's see where it could get a bit strange, we'll say.
It's the mechanics, though. Some of the mechanics in this game are wild. There's a scene where there's a guy who's kind of losing his mind, one of her relatives, and you're playing as this character. And he is working in a cannery, taking like these fish. So you have to you grab a fish, you move it over, and you chop its head off through like a blade that kind of comes down and smacks the head off. You have to kind of just keep repetitively grabbing a fish, moving it over, lose its head. You get into that motion, and as you're doing that, with I think it's your right stick, with your left stick, you're controlling like his dream, where he thinks he's like a king. So he's kind of up in his own head. He believes he is like living in a video game almost, where he's like, you're moving this character around as he's becoming king of this kingdom. At the same exact time, you're chopping heads off of fish. You keep grabbing the fish and moving it as you're controlling this other part of this scene. There's really weird mechanics like that in the game. become like one of the characters becomes like a cat, and all of a sudden you're up climbing up a tree and you're outside looking in windows, and then she becomes an owl, and then she becomes like a shark, but the shark is like out of the water, and you just have to like flop this shark somehow through this maze sort of to get it back down to the water. And then once you're in the water, you're swimming as the shark and going after food. It's doesn't sound like a walking simulator, right? I mean, there's parts in there where you're walking around, but it's not a straightforward walking simulator. So that combined, the excellent storytelling and those really tweaked game mechanics made for an excellent game. I'm glad I played this, especially with it being free on Plus last month. Well worth, good palate cleanser.
Nice. Yeah, it sounds like it'd be pretty interesting. That's pretty wild, though, man. You mentioning the fish and off with its head. Meanwhile, like anybody who's had one of those menial jobs where it's super repetitive like that, you're in your head, you're thinking you're a king and whatnot, and off with his head.
You should see how that character dies.
Ooh, spoiler.
Yeah.
Whoa. I've had this installed. I've got it installed ready. I grabbed it in when I saw it was on PlayStation Plus, and it's had some fantastic reviews. So I definitely want to play through it. It's in the backlog somewhere.
I had to run to YouTube when it was done because there's a couple bits to the story that they leave you hanging a little bit. I'm like, I want to know what happened to this character. It's fascinating, man. All sorts of like videos, people with their theories, and there's a lot of depth to that story if you really want to dig in further after you beat the game. But check it out, man. It's a great game.
Sounds like it's well deserved, all the accolades it's received over the past couple of years.
I added myself to their PR list. I added a band of gamers. I want to know when these guys make another game. I'm going to be there right away because that Unfinished Swan is also an excellent game. So between those two.
Ooh, yeah.
What's next? Keep us posted. I want more. All right, it's that time. Time to grow the e-penis. Carl, you got some easy PlayStation Platinum trophies to talk about?
I have indeed. This one is not without its challenge. It's by Ratalaika Games, and like with most of their Platinums, you don't actually have to play through every single level. So, when you boot it up, you might think, oh, God, if I have to finish every single one of these, I'm probably going to, jump off a tall building. But the game's called, it's Peasant Knight, peasant as in poor. And it's kind of like, and what they do with Ratalaika, they build a lot of mobile games across, they port them across to, the PS4 and the Xbox and whatever. And this is very much like a phone game. It's kind of like an endless runner, where your little knight starts on the left-hand side, and he moves pretty much automatically, and he stops if you press the D-pad. So the idea is that you avoid the obstacles, you get to the goal, and then you move on to the next level. As simple as that. Starts off easy, with a couple of there's little jump pads and things to move him up on platforms and stuff. So it's knowing when to press the pad and like avoid the lava spire and stuff like that. And it's actually quite straightforward, but you can't just press and hold the D-pad to keep him still, because if you do that for too long, there's a little meter at the top that builds up, and when it gets full, there's a lightning strike and kills you. So it's a bit of trial and error, when you're going through and you're thinking, right, I need to have a look at the layout of the level, but I don't want to take too long. So there's a lot of times you'll die on different levels, but you will get there eventually. And there's some stuff that kind of changes it up. There are things in the environment that every kind of 10 levels or so, something else will come into play. You'll have like the platforms that, or the minute you step on them, will start to move upwards. So you need to kind of get on them and then stop straight away to get to the desired location, and then it will move you forward again. Then a little bit further on, all of a sudden there's walls you bounce off, and you end up going completely the other way. And that kind of messes with your brain a bit. Teleporters, things you want to, basically stuff you want to step on, stuff you don't want to step on, and stuff you want to step on in different orders to where it actually is. So it's kind of, it does get your brain to think, moving a little bit. It makes you think, test the old grey matter. I've platinumed it on the Vita. It is a plat. So like with the usual things, it's a bundle. You pick it up for, I think it's $3.99 or it was under £3. This was about £2.79. It wasn't on sale, so I think it must be an older one from them. And yeah, it probably took me about 3 or 4 hours to platinum it. It shouldn't take you that long, I don't think, but I was kind of picking up, putting it down. but not a terrible game by any way, shape, or form. And definitely one in their library that you're going to pick up and and rattle through. It's a very absent-minded game, so you can be watching a bit of TV and do it at the same time, whatever. It's all good.
Yeah, they've made some. I don't want to say great, but for lack of a better term, some great little games like that are make an easy platinum. They get a pretty big roster of games they've developed. I mean, they're all short and rather easy, we'll say, but still, man, they keep pumping them out, man. Nice little developer. I'm very, very thankful them for a lot of the 5-minute platinums, 20-minute platinums. Excellent stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure you could do this in about an hour, mate. To be fair, it just took me longer because I was picking up, putting it down. But I always keep an eye out on them as a developer when you can search on the store and just be like, right, okay, which of their games are on sale? They've got a game called Devious Dungeon, which was one of my favourite ones of theirs. It's really, really cool. There's actually a sequel to that that's out now, but I haven't picked that up yet because it's full price at the moment. And I did think about just grabbing a review copy from them, but at the same time, it's a bit of a cheat then if you're just using it for a plat. So they have got a game which I'm hopefully going to be playing ready for the next show, but which actually looks pretty good. It's a bit different for them, so we'll talk about that more next time.
Well, before we get over to what we're drinking, grab some beers, and then over to Side B music. Thanks for listening. If you like the show, which we give for free, and you definitely get your money's worth, right? Tell a friend. Let them know about ABOG. If they're a gamer, if they like music, help us get the word out there. We'd appreciate it. And join the community over at abandongamers.com, where you can hook up easily with our Discord server. Lots of great people, friends of the show that chat over there, and then all of our social medias at the bottom of the page. And don't forget, our quitter who couldn't quit. Gave him a toast last episode. Brad's back. He's writing again, which is great news. He just probably needed a little bit of a... He couldn't leave us, right?
No, man, there's too many great records, new and old, out there for him to give his excellent opinion on. And yeah, he's came back with a new blog post, which is fantastic. Definitely head over there and check that out.
It's time for a cold beer.
All right. Why don't you get us started, Carl?
This week, I've mostly been drinking. I think last time we recorded, I did talk a little bit about Thornbridge, and it was a spin on their IPA that I had last time around, grapefruit one. This time, I've gone back to their. Again, it's a bit of a special one from them. It's a double IPA. It's called Yelamu. Not quite sure on the name, but I know it's damn tasty. It's a in the supermarket. These are a bit on the pricey side. I think they're probably £3 a pop. Just open this bad boy up. But I've been a bit spoilt when I've been across to see Joel and Shane across the pond, and I've been looking for something which is more on a par with some of the hazies that I've been having with them. And we don't find many of them brewed over here, certainly by the more mainstream breweries. They do tend to be smaller ones, craft ones. This double IPA packs a real punch, 7.4%. It tastes beautiful. You can see the colour of it is something you might see, Joel, Shane, something probably a bit more familiar to you.
Yeah,
it's real.
It's a little bit like the old Hillbilly Ninja almost there.
Yeah, it's probably coming a little bit darker on the camera than it actually is. It's pretty light. Yeah, this is dangerous. It's so refreshing. It's sweet, but not too sweet. It's quickly become my favourite beer. The problem is that it's you're talking £12 for a 6-pack. But you get what you pay. You get what you pay for. Damn fine beer, really delicious, and just full of just little hints of like peach and fruit and
a frothy head, good color.
And the head does seem to stick around as well. It's not one of these that's kind of foamy and goes. It does sort of sit on top nicely for a while.
Ooh la la!
Indeed,
you could kind of tell that head was going to stick.
Oh man.
I'm enjoying a Boombox brew. I love Boombox making some great beers, man. They got a handful of beers on their roster, and they kind of spread them out through the year. So they'll have one that they'll do for a couple months and then on to the next and whatnot. This is their IPA holotape. Really, really cool. It's got a little cassette tape on the label art with kind of like the what is that called? The inside of the tape. The magnetic part that you pull out and it gets everywhere, and it's all graphic on the can. Really, really cool. It's a good old fashioned, straightforward IPA. It is pretty cloudy. It doesn't. It's not described as like a New England Northeast IPA or anything to give you that haziness, but it's just solid. Super welterweight as well. Comes in about 7.3. Very tasty. Doesn't taste. You don't get that. Doesn't taste like a 7.3, but it's there. You're definitely aware. So it's kind of nice because then you get to pace yourself. You can only have a few of these in a night, otherwise they'll climb on top of you, which is pretty crazy. But yeah, just a nice little, just another beaut from Boombox. They brought it back, just released it this past week. So back in stores. Delicious little IPA.
Nice. I've got from my pals over at 1840. It's called The Man with the Golden Beer.
Ooh.
Basically, it's got Idaho 7 hops. This is how it got its name. Available under the name 007 The Golden Hop, which inspired them to make this James Bond themed beer, Man with the Golden Beer, which they brewed to a 7.7% ABV with 7 IBUs. It's a double dry hopped. Pretty good. And a little bit of a taste here. It's got, you can't chug this one, man. The color is very interesting. It's almost like a brown hazy.
I say it almost looks a little malty, almost a little hint of the caramel in there.
Yeah,
but that coppery kind of kick to it.
Doesn't have that flavor at all. It's got notes of like banana in the flavor, a little bit of mango. It's an excellent tasting double dry hopped IPA. I told my friends as we went down there last weekend, had a few. Like, I taste banana, and everybody was like, "Yeah, you're right, man. There's a banana in there." So it's not spiked with banana or nothing, but it's got that flavor note to it. It's very good.
Looks delicious, and as always, if it's half as good as the 1840s I've tried, that's going to be a dynamite beer.
All their beers are so good. Although the last week's beer, I didn't like it. Won't be drinking that one on the show. First time I bought an IPA from them, I didn't like. They had a little bit of a dirt flavor to it. I don't know. Smelled like earth. It tasted like earth.
Wow. Okay.
Fortunately, I've got a few of these in the fridge. So this is the one from a couple weeks ago. Man with the Golden Beer. Raising my glass. Cheers, gentlemen.
Cheers, boys.
Virtual clink.
Clink.
Oh, man.
Damn, some tasty beers. Welcome to Side B, music. And on this episode, we have a double shot. That's correct. We have 2 recommended records. First up, the latest from Phil X and the Drills, Stupid Good Lookings, Volume 1.
Great album title.
Fantastic. Great Flintstones reference.
That's a Flintstones reference?
Yeah, there's a scene. Definitely Google it on YouTube or whatnot. But yeah, Stupid Good Lookings, Flintstones. They're this lady's place and whatnot. And, it's very, very European. Good lookings. And then Fred and Barney mess something up and just like, "Oh, you stupid good lookings," Great. Google it. It's much better than when I mention it. But yes, Phil X and the Drills. Phil X, a longtime studio musician, guitar player. He's probably played on numerous of your favorite albums, if not at least a bunch of your favorite songs. And now he's become the main lead guitarist for Bon Jovi. Career's continued, and he tours the world with Bon Jovi. So he's done pretty well for himself. But in his downtime, he's got his band, the Drills, and they are back. It's been a number of years since their previous release, but they are back with a 6-song EP released in May of 2019. Clocks in just over 20 minutes. So 6 rockin' tunes in 20 minutes. Great stuff. Kind of, I wouldn't say hard to describe the record or whatnot, but I was doing some Googling and whatnot and came across a website that really described it really, really well. So I'll share with you from the rockpit.net, which is a great little hard rock website. Released on May 3rd, Stupid Good Lookings boasts 6 new songs, making up this pool of catchy rock tracks with great vocals and wonderful guitar work throughout. Add to this a plethora of Phil's guest drummers on each of the tracks, and Stupid Good Lookings results in a fantastic EP to add to anyone's collection, which I definitely agree. Some of the guest drummers include Taylor Hawkins, Matt Chamberlain, Brent Fitz, and Glenn Sobel. Some great drummers there. Fantastic. Possibly the best in the biz. We put this out to our community on Discord, and Tim Paulin says, thanks for recommending this. He gives it 5 IPAs and asks, can an EP be a record of the year? Well, it certainly can when an EP rocks this good. So 5 IPAs on that. Definitely good stuff. I've been a big fan of Phil X for a number of years. He's just an amazing guitar player. Definitely an inspiration. Has that, he's big, Van Halen guy, AC/DC, that classic rock, the traditional guitar hero. That's Phil X. And I was so excited for this record. It's been in the works for so long. And as soon as it came out, I'm like, Joe and Carl, you guys got to hear this. I want to know what you guys think. And here we are. So here we go. Phil X and the Drills, Stupid Good Lookings. Joe, Carl, what do you think of this little EP?
This is, it's so far up my wheelhouse, mate. I think I could have recommended it myself, to be fair. It's got all that old classic guitar that I love. When I first started playing it, and that opening tune, Something to Say, just reminded me a lot personally of Black Country Communion, which it's kind of a I don't use the word supergroup, but Jason Bonham on drums, Glenn Hughes on vocal, Joe Bonham-Master on guitar. They did 3 albums, maybe 4. But it reminded me a lot of their initial album, and it's got that real kind of driving, not heavy guitar, but it's a rocking guitar riff on there, and everything's just driving forward. The other tunes maybe not so much, but that one hit me in the face, as something very similar to them. But the rest is still class. It does give me, just smile. It gives me a grin on my face when I'm thinking about, the old, like Shane's touched on there with the likes of Van Halen, and DC. Yeah, you're getting onto any guitar band really who's played them riffs, played them licks, man, and and just a tight accompaniment there. The drummers are it's nice that you've got different drummers on each song. I think you can definitely tell that that there are different people behind the kits on each of the tunes. It's been a great little palate cleanser for me. Like I'm kind of getting my download head on now, ready to go there in a couple of weeks' time and see 20 odd heavy metal bands and with a sprinkling of other stuff. And listening to this is just brilliant. It's helped me kind of just 6 songs, just a nice length for it. I wish there was a couple more. I wish it was a full album. But yeah, I've really, really enjoyed this one.
Got to learn something new about Shane. First of all, when we were in Vancouver, driving up to Whistler, that Foxy Shazam record, a bit of a glam rock kind of sound to it. And here again, here's another one that's got just a different. I'm used to Shane just being into the punk, lots of punk stuff. But now I'm getting a different side of Shane. I like that. I like that he's brought this, and I also like that Foxy Shazam record. Phil X, I know Shane's a huge fan. The guy's got some chops, right? The guy can really play guitar. You hear a lot of other people in here. Like, you hear all of his influences in here, Van Halen especially. But it's kind of like tune by tune. Like, there's a tune that's very Van Halen-ish. There's an AC/DC sounding tune. There's a Jimmy Page Zeppelin sounding tune. I hear a little bit of Joe Perry influence, Aerosmith, in his playing. And then I think at the end of the album, he kind of brings it down a little bit. It's almost got like a Little Wing Hendrix kind of thing going on at the very end. I don't know if I hear any of him in his playing. I hear everybody else. I struggle to find who he is, but he is a hired gun, right? That's what he does. So if you like all those bands that I just mentioned, Halen, AC/DC, Jimmy Page, all those good players, you know what I thought about? I thought about like a lot of people out there love cover bands, go to church festivals. You see these guys at these festivals where they got their Miller Lite 6, 7, 10 Miller Lights in, and they're just screaming when the Dokken cover comes on. Play some Van Halen. This record's for those people who don't really want to take a chance. Maybe after the 10th Miller Lite, they wouldn't notice that Phil X is bringing some new tunes there. But kind of like snuck right in there behind all their favorite covers. That's what this record feels like to me. I think it's for those. It's in that wheelhouse so heavily that people that like that style of music think are really going to like this record. Good summer record too. Take this one to the beach. I think I said at the beginning.
The only kind of parts I can hear, like I can tell it's Phil playing, because there are so many influences, and Joel hit it on the head here. But from watching a lot of his videos, and he would demo a lot of vintage guitars on fretted Americana, and he would just kind of plug in and just kind of jam and pick up what the guitar sounds like. Oh, it's you know what, I can get a good Page vibe out of this guitar, and then he would play some Page riffs and whatnot. He would do that, but every once in a while he'd just kind of noodle around, and there's a tune on here, the second tune, No Woman of Mine, and he's got this great lick throughout the entire tune, and there's parts where he kind of flips it, and he's kind of sounds like he's going a little bit out of tune, a little bit out of step, and he does that really well. And that's the one kind of part on this album where if somebody had just played that and I heard that, I'm like, that's Phil. That's got to be Phil. Like, it's just the way he kind of has fun and is not afraid to step out. And he understands the fretboard and music so well that he can pull some of this stuff off, you know, seamlessly. And that tune really stood out as that's definitely Phil. I can definitely hear that. But yeah, you definitely got to close this out with a little bit of a Hendrix and almost kind of a Beatles vibe to it as well, a little bit. But yeah, man, it's just a great rocking. Like Joel said, if you're a fan of any of those bands, the old Guitar Heroes, Triumph, and you'll love this, man. It's right in that wheelhouse, and good palate cleanse now and then too.
Yeah, very rock, 80s, 90s, more 80s style of what you hear on the radio back then for rock music. Not taking any chances, but right in those people's wheelhouse. If you like that old stuff, you're going to love this record. That's why Tim Paulin, Discord there, he's like five IPAs, album of the year potentially. I now know where his wheelhouse is.
Right?
It's right there by mine, Tim. Don't worry.
That's cool. Hey, Tim likes some country music too. I'm not trying to limit him.
Yeah.
But good recommendation, Shane. I enjoyed this one.
Cheers, boys.
Yeah, I did too, mate. I did too. And a nice break from what I have been listening to. Album number two, Frank Carter and the Rattlesnakes, End of Suffering. They're on the record label International Death Cult, and it's come out on the 3rd of May this year. So quite a new one. I picked the vinyl up. I'd pre-ordered this one, and it kind of landed on the mat, and I was like, oh yeah, been waiting for a bit more Frank Carter. 12 songs, 44 minutes long, and one of my favourite albums in 2017 was Modern Ruin, and kind of left me wanting a bit more. It's typical. The album came out, and I was like, oh yeah, I'd love to see these. And it turns out they'd played like 3 days before in Birmingham, and I'm not sure if they've been back since there, which is a bit of a shame. But yeah, that was one of my favourite albums of 2017. I'm not sure. I think I've recommended it on the show. We did cover it before, and I think that was an absolute banger. And Frank Carter is a busy man. He's got a lot to say, and I wasn't surprised that he'd released this 2 years after. I think this is the third album now that the Rattlesnakes have done, and it lacks a little bit of punch, I think, certainly compared to Modern Ruin and Gallows. I think if you go back that far, and it's still got a lot to it. I still really do get a big kick out of his songwriting, out of his lyrics. I think it lacks a bit of savagery, maybe. You still get it in a couple of tracks on this album. There's some real swagger on tunes like Crowbar, Heartbreaker, Tyrant Lizard King, which apparently has Tom Morello on guitar. And I couldn't quite pick that. There was something in that tune. It's the guitar towards the end of it, and it was just a little bit ragey. And I was like, okay. And that I had to look that up.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, it's a tiny little bit. It's just a little bit of a riff right at the end of the tune, and it's just a little bit of rage to it. But it's not deep. It's quite high in tuning. So I kind of missed it. Nice tune on there, Angel Wings, which starts off. It's very ponderous and deliberate and real slow. But then it kind of gave me a bit of Perfect Circle, almost from last year. The way that song's developed into this kind of beefy chorus, but it's also a little bit somber. And then End of Suffering, the last track on the record, I think is quite beautiful. It's Noel-esque, I think. A bit of Noel Gallagher to that tune. In terms of the chord progression, and it's just pierced with these little bits of piano just throughout it, and you could see Noel doing that a little bit. So there's a bit of different stuff in this, I think. Certainly compared to Modern Ruin, not as heavy, but when it is heavy, I think it gives it. And I love the way that the album ebbs and flows. It really does work for me. I would score it a 4 out of 5 if it was me. And I'm anxious to hear what Joel and Shane think about it. I know it's new to them, but they listened to Frank Carr a little bit before. But before we hear their thoughts, the Discord community have had their say. Carfod said it was a 4 out of 5. Loved the album. Good man. Tim Paulin, same here, 4 out of 5. Brad, our writer, is 4 IPAs for this one. It's a grower. And Mikey Young with an easy 4 IPAs as well at the end there. So, pretty solid representation so far. Let's see what the boys think. Joel, Shane?
I'd go 4 out of 5 also. I think that's a right score for this one. And I like where Frank Carter is going. You mentioned, Carl, how it's a little less, I think what you say, a little less punchy.
Yeah.
Than his last couple. I think he's evolving his music a little bit. He's evolving his style. I like that he's doing that. I like this record probably more than the last one. The more I listen to it, the more I'm hearing all these 90s vibes to it. I mean, Filter, for some reason, comes to mind. Maybe like Bush a little bit in there.
Yeah.
I hear Arctic Monkeys a ton, but it might just be his voice a little bit and his vocal stylings. I know he's heavily, I've heard some interviews with him, he's heavily influenced by the Beatles. And I'm sure Arctic Monkeys are as well. A lot of great British bands, rock bands probably have that influence. Every band nowadays has Beatles influence.
It's that opening track though, isn't it? Where that's a very Arctic Monkeys kind of track. The Butterfly Can't Love a Spider, and it's a belter of a tune, and it does have these vocals. Just if someone had said that's an Arctic Monkeys tune from probably 5 or 6 years ago, wouldn't have been surprised.
But I agree with Brad. It is a grower. I mean, I liked it right away, but the more I hear it, the more I appreciate it. It's a good record to me, and I'm an American who hasn't had a ton of Britpop exposure, except for from my two pals here, Shane and Carl. So I'm learning. Loved Oasis growing up. But to me, this sounds like a Brit rock record.
Yeah, this is definitely a grower. To be completely honest, the first few listens, I didn't really care for this album at all. I kept hearing Queens of the Stone Age, and I don't really like Queens of the Stone Age. So
what?
Yeah,
dude.
Oh my God, Josh Homme, man.
No.
Oh, come on, dude. You're breaking my heart over here.
I know. I'm sorry. There's a few Stone Age tunes I like. Yeah, no one knows. I think it's their best tune.
Tune.
It's that riff.
So the drums,
unbelievable. Yeah, the riffs, that riff, and the drums. Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Did you ever hear Caius, his first band?
No.
Oh, All right, sorry.
Yeah,
Distracted.
I'll have to Google. But yeah, I just kept hearing that, that kind of vibe from a lot of the tunes, and then, kind of put it away, for a week and whatnot, and listen to other stuff and whatnot. I like Arctic Monkeys, and I've been getting into like their middle section of albums, like Humbug and Suck It and See. And that's when this album started to click. When I put it back on, it has that. There was a time in the Arctic Monkeys career where they really had got into that groove, the real deep. And then it started to click. And I think the tune on this album, Angel Wings, really opened the album up for me. And that's when everything started to click. There's a couple tunes I still don't care for. The Lizard Tyrant one I don't really dig. And I think Crowbar was the other one.
Oh, dude.
Yeah. I know. It's I'm horrible. But it was like the second side of this record is Ace. And it really starts to kind of open up a little bit more. And you really hear more of those influences. You do hear a little bit of Noel in there. You do hear a little bit, Beatles and whatnot. He definitely writes a great melody, and I think that's fantastic. And I like where he's going. I wasn't a big fan of the record before this one that we did. Really struck me that one. But this one I like a lot more. And this one I'm going to keep going with and keep enjoying and whatnot. But yeah, there's, after giving it, some time, a little bit, letting it breathe a little bit, coming back to it, and you start to hear more and more that you like about it, and you start to hear more of these familiar influences. And yeah, I dig this one. I think 4 out of 5 I think is very good. Out of 10 I'd say it's a 7.2. It's a solid record.
I love how you always got like a decimal, like a fraction in your scores.
Yeah, you got it. One spin, everyone knows the rules. But yeah, it's good. But it to be honest, yeah, it did take a bit for me to get into this record, and there was a bit of, a couple speed bumps in it. But all in all, I am enjoying it much more now than I did 2 weeks ago. And it's good stuff. He's got a cool voice. He's got some decent melodies on there. Definitely hear a bit of that. He's definitely English. That's for sure. So yeah, no. Honestly, I came a long way with this record. And there's been a lot where it's kind of like you first listen to it, it's like, oh man, this is great, and it's just nothing but enjoying. But it's nice to have these ones where that first few listens is kind of, I don't know, man. I don't know. And you let it breathe. You come back, and it starts to click, man. And that's where I am with this one, man. So it's decent. I'm glad to have the time with it and listen to it. It's been a bit different to listen to, but more and more lately, more enjoyable.
You know where else he's got that Beatles influences in those hooks? And I think as the album goes on, especially that side B, he's really got some great hooks in there. The guy can write a good song. Yep,
definitely. You definitely get, and his voice too. You definitely can hear, the little bit of punkiness in his youth is still kind of there. He's still prominent, still important to him, and he's got it, man.
I could see this in my record collection.
It's quite pretty.
And I actually went on the website because I started to really enjoy it. I'm not, making this up and whatnot. And looked at, and he's got a gorgeous, like 3-colored vinyl. It's like purple, 2 different shades of purple, and I love purple too. Yeah, slick looking vinyl.
Yeah, that was one of the thoughts I was getting.
Oh no.
Yeah, I don't mind the green ice cream splatter thing. That's cool as well. And I have got Modern Ruin, and that's like a blood red split. Like that's pretty cool.
Yeah, he's a good record, man.
He's all indie too. He's completely independently releasing all of his albums. He does all of his own press, all of his own marketing. He does everything on his own. I think at some point he, from what I heard in an interview, considered going to a major label. I think he was being courted a little bit, but opted to just to stay independent, have full control over all of his music and his publishing.
It's almost like a English Rosenstock in a way.
Yeah, good call.
Thank you.
I love Jeff Rosenstock. I'm still like heartbroken you don't like Josh Homme, but I'll get over it.
Well, I mean, he did help
No.
spawn the Eagles of death metal, which I love.
Oh my god, dude!
I love them. They're so great live. They're amazing.
So good albums. They'll put them both in. We've got a Spotify playlist. Check them out at abandonedgamers.com/192. Come give these a listen. And also in that Spotify playlist, what we've been listening to. Carl, you got one. I got a couple. And then let's choose our recommended album for next one. We'll get us started, Carl. What you listening to?
Yeah, Slipknot dropped a new single, which I know I bored the pants off the pair of you. I think just saying how much I love this song. I think it's superb, and they're headlining Download on the Saturday, so I'm super stoked to see them anyway. And when this dropped, it took me a couple of listens, I think, but there's just so much I love about it. And Great Chapter is my favourite Slipknot album. I thought that album was just phenomenal, and it sounds like they're going to continuing down that kind of path, which I'm super excited about. So I think I listened to this song probably about 40 times in 2 days.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah. I just had it on repeat, constantly on repeat. And something I love about their drumming setup, man. I just, you've got the dude who just plays like the two big, deep floor toms, like just boom, boom, boom. And they give so much depth, and they've got like a slight metallic kind of edge to it. And yeah, it just carries it for me. When he kicks in, I love that. I love the drums, I really do. And I think Corey Taylor's vocals are great. The whole thing is just superbly put together. A little bit operatic at the beginning. It's got its little high notes and stuff, but then it fucking rocks, man. I can't wait to see these boys.
So you're enjoying this tuna?
It's my tune of the year so far, as just a one-off song. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, I think it's superb.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, but I am in download mode. I'm getting excited about everybody now, and this next band who I started listening to, I'm going down the bill. And I know Slipknot. I know, Tool, Smashing Pumpkins, Slayer. I know what they're all about. So you look at the bands who are on first, kind of 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, who the guys who are opening up, and I do this. I just put them in Spotify and have a little listen, give them 5-10 minutes or so. Like, is this something I'd go and watch it through for half an hour or not? And there was a band in there called Last in Line, and these are on first on Friday on the main stage. So literally, they are opening the thing up, and it's very much like that FedEx record. It's kind of it's in its own little don't get too excited chain. It's in that wheelhouse where it's like it's not doing anything particularly new, particularly different. It's safe, but man, they're good. This is the band. It's basically Dio's band from back in the day, and they released an album in 2016, and this is kind of the follow up. It's called 2, obviously, and came out this year. So I've been spinning this a little bit after looking at the lineup and thinking, these are the guys I want to see on the Friday when they come on sort of first, and yeah. So you've got, I think it's the original. It's Vinny Appice, who used to play a bit of drums for Sabbath, and Jimmy Bain, Vivian Campbell, and the vocalist is Andrew Freeman, a dude who apparently used to sing for a bit with The Offspring for like a year or so. I don't know, I've not really heard of him, but they're really decent, and you can tell the musicianship. It's a really, really solid record. One I'm enjoying, and I'm like, yeah, it's bluesy, rocky. It's a little bit of metal to it, but it's not too. It's completely approachable. There's nothing about it that would put anyone off. Safe, middle of the road, but you can tell they're pros, man. I thought it was a new band. Like, when I googled them, I was like, oh, these guys. I wonder if I can see them touring. And yeah, they're all in their 60s.
A little older than us, even. Holy cow.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, Last in Line. Maybe there's a joke in the name.
Sounds like it. I added it to our Spotify playlist. I'll have to check that one out. Shane, anything else to say about that Slipknot record song? You were like, you wanted to say something there, right?
I always want to say something. It's just I've developed this conscious where
drop the conscious. Just say it.
I'm interested in what the rest of the record's going to sound like, and I hope this is just like one of those first singles that you put out that just doesn't sound like the rest of the album.
Yeah, kind of like a radio single or something.
Whoa,
sort of.
I'll be completely honest with you, Carl, because I know you love this tune and whatnot, and I love the Great Chapter.
Oh, hell yeah.
I love that record. I think that was a huge step
10 out of 10
forward for
record.
the band. Yes.
Great record.
Undeniable. It is. This tune sounds like a step back. This sounds like early Slipknot, which isn't a bad thing.
But it sounds like early.
Sounds like Stone Sour, dude. A little bit.
It sounds like something off Iowa.
Really?
Yeah. It has so much of that early Slipknot where it's simple. The drums are there and it's really melodic chorus, and to me it sounds like kind of a step back after such a great push forward with the Great Chapter. So I am looking forward to the rest of their album and whatnot. But to me, it just maybe I was expecting more. Maybe it's a little bit spoiled with the Great Chapter.
I don't know. I think Great Chapter was so full of rage and loss and sadness and anger because of all those things. I don't know if they're going to catch fire in a bottle again, lightning in the bottle again with that. So I think they have to. There's so much of themselves in that record that whether this one will live up to it, I'm not sure. But I know I get what you're saying. I understand what you mean. Like I don't want, as much as I love this song, I wouldn't want the whole album. I would want a lot of the album to be heavier, and a bit snappier, a bit quicker. But I love this tune.
It's very radio friendly. It's there. It's loud. It's what Slipknot fans want. I mean, this is perfect. To me, it's old school Slipknot, and it's just like, yes, they love it and whatnot. But and because I got a new drummer now too, which is, he's somewhat known. Like his father is a very prestigious drummer or something.
They have a new drummer. That's not good.
I didn't know that.
The drummer in Slipknot. I mean, the original guy, and there was 3 drummers.
Yeah.
Originally,
yeah, two on Kids and then one on the.
Yeah, those. I mean, that's an important part of Slipknot. So for me, the best album is their first album. That's the one that's in my heart. That's my favorite. Iowa's also right up there.
Whoa.
But they're more of like a death metal band back then.
Yeah,
a little heavier, a lot more throaty with the vocals. And then Corey Taylor went on to do Stone Sour, which I like a lot. I really like that early Stone Sour stuff. Now he's starting to, in my opinion, to blend the lines between
the two bands.
Yeah, and it's sounding less like Slipknot and more like Corey Taylor to me. And so to hear that there's a new drummer in there adds, I guess, fans that flame a little bit, that it is more Corey Taylor. Slipknot had their own like sound, and then Stone Sour was more like his side project, more him. And Great Chapter, to me, it had that. It's like, okay, it's back to that Slipknot sound. I really like that. And this tune, this new single, reminds me more of just Corey, I guess, than it does Slipknot.
I can't remember. I thought they had a new.
This is a drummer that they've had for the past couple of years. Sorry.
Yeah, because I think he played on Great Chapter anyway.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, he did. He's the guy that's replaced Jordison, and it's Weinberg, the son of the great.
Harvey. Yes.
I didn't realize he had been on did the last record and whatnot, because I know obviously they had that new bass player which freaking rocks. Holy crap, that kid can play. But yeah, so
I want to hear more.
Definitely, I definitely do. Yeah.
So I've been listening to a few things. The Meters. I never heard of this band. My wife saw that Acme, and my favorite record store, Acme Records, does this like daily post, or at his store he picks a daily record, plays it, puts it up on like the little pedestal behind the player. And that's a great thing about a good record store, right? The curation. You walk in, you discover stuff as you're shopping. Like, oh, what's this? I'm going to buy all these records, and whatever you're playing right now, put that in my bag too. I just love his curation's phenomenal. So he had put this up for his album of the day. My wife's like, holy shit, the Meters. Like, I need this record. I'm like, I'm not. What is this? So we go to the store. It's her birthday weekend. I figured I'll buy her a few records, take her out to dinner, that whole thing. $100 record. I'm like, I'll take that new Meters. And he's like,
damn.
I'm sorry. I hate to tell you this, but it's $100. What? But it's an original pressing of a 1969 album. So I'm like, all right, let's do it. My wife, of course, is like, no, don't. I'm like, nah, it's Acme Records. Let's support them. Let's do it. So I bought a $100 record. The first time I ever spent that much money on a record. I've never come anywhere near that. Came home, put it on, and I'm thinking to myself, this record better sound damn good. And it does. It's their self-titled release, The Meters, New Orleans funk band. It's all instrumental. Good album, man. Worth $100. My wife's like, we should put that one on again. I'm like, yeah, we should listen to that like at least 20 more times.
Yeah, get your money's worth.
Yeah, for sure. I threw that in a Spotify playlist as well. Check it out, man. It's good. Good album. And then new Justin Townes Earl. I'm a fan of him. The album's called The Saint of Lost Causes. Yeah. I like Justin Townes Earl. I don't know if this record's doing anything for me. Listening to it on Spotify, I'm not sure I'll pick it up. I liked his last one maybe a little bit more. But we'll see. Maybe it'll be a grower. I'll give it some time. Black Mountain band I just discovered out of BC. Vancouver there, Shane, right up in your neck of the woods. Brand new album. It's called Destroyer. Just came out the other day. I guess I describe them as like a 70s metal. A little bit of psych sound in there. Talking to my guys in the chat the other day. I called it a cross between old Iron Maiden, like Paul Di'Anno, old Iron Maiden, and like Deep Purple. But with more vocal hooks. And I think it's a good driving album. I'm not quite sure yet if I would recommend this. I'm still kind of soaking it all in. But I sent it to a few people. Like, check this out. You know, if you like that old 70s metal sound, that old Maiden, that old Deep Purple, it's a pretty good record. Kind of enjoying this. And I know Brad said he likes their older stuff better. This is my entry point. I'm digging it.
I just started listening to this today. And so far, so good, is all I'll say.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a banger. You definitely get that English 70s metal. I think Deep Purple is, hitting it right on the head there.
I did look for tour dates, just in case. They were playing around Monica Woods, and they were fairly cheap to see. But you can tell when you're probably going to go on to like an album quite a bit. So I thought I'll have a little look. But it's all America. I think they're doing a gig in Switzerland, but they are playing in Vancouver, showing in the 12th of September through to the Sunday the 15th. It must be a festival, Westwood Music Festival or something.
Yep.
It looks like they're doing all festivals. So.
Yeah, right on, man.
Good stuff. Good album cover, too. Like the artwork on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Checked out a little bit. Haven't had a whole lot of time with it yet, but Brad recommended Emile and the Sniffers self-titled release. It's an Australian pop punk band with apparently a lot of energy in their live shows. And it's not often that Brad recommends a record. Well, I mean, it's often in his blog, but it's not often where he's like, you should recommend this on the show specifically. So because Brad is putting us out there and saying we should recommend it on the show, I think we should recommend it for the next episode. What do you guys think?
100%, man. I'm in.
Absolutely.
All right. So Emile, and that's spelled AMYL, and the Sniffers. It's self-titled. And we'll come back and let you know what we think of Brad's pick next episode. You can, of course, hear all of this music in our Spotify playlist. You can find that real easily over at abandongamers.com/192. Every episode, we've got a Spotify playlist on the bottom in the show notes. Or look at your player. Pop open the show notes right in your podcast player right now. There's a hyperlink on that Spotify playlist. Click on that. You can go and check out these records. Thank you for listening. We appreciate it. We appreciate you. We look forward to talking to you again in a couple weeks. Next episode, we've got that Emile and the Sniffers record, and we're going to be talking about Microsoft's E3 press conference. Going to feature that. Of course, more games and more e-penis. Anything else, gentlemen? Before we close her down for 2 weeks.
They're killing off iTunes. I don't know what I'm going to do. Apparently, you'll still be able to buy, music and whatnot, which I hope, because I have a decent digital library. But yeah, end of an era. It's been a long run, but times change. Nothing lasts forever. And just another death of another format, and keep on keeping on. Keep moving forward, boys.
I got to read into this. I don't know what the hell's going on with this iTunes thing.
No idea. I don't use it. Don't like it.
Yeah. See ya.
Yeah. It's all good for me.
Yeah.
All I've got to say is up the villa.
Yes.
Cheers, mate. That was great to see.
Cheers.
We all watched the game. It was great to see him get up there, get back. Wes Edens, co-owner of Villa, also of the Bucks. It's a little bit of a connection there. My Bucks, they lost to Toronto. Oh man, broke my heart. But sometimes you gotta learn. You gotta get through the process. You gotta get to the further in the playoffs. You gotta lose so that next year you get back and you understand what to do and you make that next step. So that's very glass is half full. Glass is half empty is they've got 4 free agents about to leave the team. So you won't have that same opportunity. Maybe you would, but it might be with different people. I hope they can maintain that core unit, or whoever leaves, add another piece like that. I have faith. The GM we've got is great. Giannis, I mean, he's the new LeBron, right? I mean, as long as you got him on your team and put some good people around him, you're going to be in it every year.
Yeah.
And he had some airball free throws.
Yeah. Everyone just wanted to put him to the line because the dude, he needs to get better at that.
He shot the ball very well throughout the year at the free throw. He just looked rattled or tired or inexperienced or something.
It's a different pressure, I suppose, isn't it? It's, the other half, she's a Warriors fan, and obviously I'm a Bucks fan. So we're hoping that it will be Warriors Bucks, but now I'm watching the Warriors, watching them play against the Raptors, and I never realised just how much I dislike Drake as a human being, but I sure do now. So yeah, I'm watching players like Steph Curry stepping up to that line, and he's so cool, man. It's just like boom, boom, and I'm like, if Giannis can get that, like if he can add that to his game, so guys are worried about putting him on the line and fouling him, and yeah, it's looking good for the Bucks.
He's 24 years old, still a kid.
Yeah.
Got faith.
I remember, well, not really, but when the Oilers first went to the Stanley Cup final against the Islanders, and the Islanders were in a dynasty, and then the Oilers had lost. Gretzky was walking past, because in order to get out of the arena, they had to walk past the Islanders dressing room, and the Islanders just won the cup and whatnot. And Gretzky's walking past, and he peeked into their dressing room and saw them all, bandaged up in pain. The cup's in there, but they weren't celebrating. And he realized what it takes to actually win. So I think, it's unfortunate because there's a bit of rivalry now and unfinished business with the Bucks and Raptors. But getting that close and losing, I mean, it makes guys hungrier. Then they now realize what it's going to take, to get there. And hopefully, they don't lose too many of the players and whatnot, and still have a solid core into next season, because they're definitely built for the future. And that's some great experience for Giannis, a young guy, but you could definitely see was kind of out of answers in that series, and hopefully now can move forward and be hungrier.
Yeah, no one works harder than Giannis. The guy his heart is just amazing. He practices nonstop. He's the guy that the game is over. He scores 35 points. Everyone goes home and he keeps shooting on the court just for practice. And he's driven. I'm very proud of that. And I want to give the Toronto Raptors some credit here. The Bucks didn't just choke and lose the game. They got beat by a very good Toronto Raptors team who played some amazing defense. Everybody has tried to stop Giannis all year. Everybody knows what he's doing, and he just walk over everybody.
Yeah.
But Toronto stopped him. They played some good D. And here in game 1 of that new finals, Golden State, Toronto Raptors, they played some great D on Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors as well. They got a shot, man. They got a real shot in this.
They do.
They're not just rolling over here. Good Toronto Raptors team. Kawhi Leonard, man, that guy's a beast. Really,
Leonard's good, man. Larry's good. And I think the dude that they put on Giannis, is it Siakam, I think?
Siakam.
Yeah. And he did a job, man. He's, bit of a beast. But yeah, I'm just looking forward. I've got into basketball in a big way, thanks to you, Joel, and and the missus, obviously. And I'm loving it, man. I'm looking forward to watching this final as well, and seeing how those games pan out. Kevin Durant comes back as well. If he does get fit for a couple of games, it's gonna make it real tasty. So yeah, we'll see. But next year they'll come back bigger and stronger, man. The Bucks will.
I think Aaron Rodgers needs to listen to some ABOG. Did you guys see him try and chug that beer? Did you guys see that clip of that? Oh man, that's bad.
It's poor. It's poor. Yeah, he needs to practice.
Yeah, but in all fairness, I mean, he's slight minority owner. He's there. You can't have just chugging beers there. Come on.
But yeah, but when the camera was on him, so a little bit backstory here. Bakhtiari, Packers lineman, over the course of this whole year, he'd come to a couple games. They'd put the camera on him. He'd be like, bro, chug a beer, just like beer bong it practically, just down. And then like he was on the scoreboard at the game. Everyone's going nuts. Second time they put the camera on him, 2 beers, boom, boom, takes him down. This time in the playoffs, he takes 3 down, bam, 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 right back to back to back. And there's like a fan in the crowd wearing a Bakhtiari jersey at the game, and the camera was going like back and forth between these two guys. So it's like Bakhtiari takes one down, they put it on the fan, the fan's like, phoom, takes it down. They go back to Bakhtiari. He's like, all right, fine. Takes it down. He does like 3 beers. Then they put it on Aaron Rodgers. And he's like, I know what I need to do. I need to take this beer down. So all of the minority ownership investor stuff aside, he knows what he needs to do. He needs to take that beer down. And he could not chug a beer. It was bad. And he like chugged it as best he could and got like what, a third of the way. And he's like, I'm out. I'm out. He just finished drinking. It's been a joke around Wisconsin here for a week. Like everyone needs to teach Aaron how to chug a beer. It's pretty funny.
I'll just wait till the opening day, the first game at Lambeau this year. But in all fairness, I don't want my quarterback, who's arguably one of the greatest of all time, out there chugging beers. The linemen, by all means, line them up, boys. Enjoy.
Good point.
But yeah, it'll be interesting that first pack game, because there's gonna be people in Rodgers jerseys just chugging beer.
Oh yeah,
it'll be great, man. But it's always a great story in Wisconsin. There, you guys do it up.
Yeah, we chug some beers here. All right, there's your ABOG Sports Talk. Thanks everybody. See you. In this episode, Side A Video Games. First off, news and conversations. Repeat that. I don't like what I said first off. And now I completely forgot where I was, so I got to start the whole thing over. Carl, you want to lead us into this? Putting you on the spot here. Shane's got such a great side B music thing that's become a thing. You need an intro thing. I think it should be beers.
Okay.
So on the spot, come up with something clever.
God damn, this is putting on the spot, isn't it?
It sure is. Sorry, dude. I could just do a normal thing here too.
That's all right. Here we go. It's time for a cold beer.
All right. Why don't you get us started, Carl?
Released on May 3rd, Stupid Good Lookings boasts 6 new songs, making up this pool of catchy rock tracks with great vocals, wonderful guitar work, and to start that over.